Dumela, Saubona, Sakpase, Namaste, Dubur Ota, Assalamu alaikum, Hotep, Buenas noches, bonsoir, good evening to everyone. Welcome to season 5, episode 7 of the Doriel Larrier show. Out of our 4 mini series, tonight is going to be about ministers on a mission, and I am so blessed and excited to have one of my brothers back, and that is Dr. Jeff Noble. You know him as the Noble Touch, or part of the Noble Touch. And we're going to be delving into a conversation tonight that's part of a conversation I've had over the past 2 years called the Life to Life series. This focus is going to be on reimagining what some may call death, some may call transitioning, the dying and divine transition within our journey. So, in our culture, we often whisper about death, about transitioning. Yet our ancestors sang through it, they danced through it, and they understood it as a sacred homegoing, not an ending. So tonight, myself, Doriel Larrier, if you're new to me, and Dr. Jeff Noble of the Noble Touch, which I know a number of people know. So we're going to engage in a soulful conversation that reclaims the beauty, the dignity, and the spirituality of life's transitionings. So let's get into our conversation with Dr. Jeff Noble.
I've been promoted to a doctor, huh?
Come on, listen. We all help people, right? We
This is
all
true.
help people. Welcome back. So I looked at my I guess use the word compendium, my
Yeah,
library, and it was 2 years ago, almost 2.5 years ago that we were chatting. It was May of 2023. So
it
this is
was
a
2 years
long.
ago already.
It was 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago.
Wow,
It was 2 years ago.
I thought it
So
was last year.
it felt like it, right? No, it was actually 2 years ago. So I know you have some fabulous folks the uh in the stream. I know, and so I definitely want your community to give a shout out. Of course, please let us know what city, state, country you're chiming in from, because I know you have people globally, and that is, of course, my goal. So please let us know where you're shouting us out from. Um, so you give your intro. I mean, people kind of know who you are, but I want my audience to be reminded of how amazing you are. Tell us about the Noble Touch, and then we'll get into our chat tonight.
Well, my name is Jeffrey Noble, as they all know probably by now. Um, I'm a servant. It's really that simple. I'm a servant. My mission on life is to help people heal and transform their lives. There are a lot of different ways I do it. I recognize very early that the medical model doesn't fit everyone because the medical model does not take in consideration the spirit of the person. It takes consideration the bones, the blood, all these different tests they do, x-rays, MRIs, whatever it may be, PET scans. But there's still something called a soul. And the soul is what actually animates the physical body. Once the soul leaves the physical body is dead.
Hmm.
So what I do is I focus on trying to find the reasons why people get sick. In other words, 85% of all major illnesses are stress related. So we can find out the repressed emotions that caused the discomfort in the soul, which led to the physical illness, then we've helped people. So the Noble Touch is a company that educates, motivates, and empower people. We educate people to know what their choices are, to realize that they're more than their physical body, and to begin to operate from that knowingness that they're more than their physical body, that they are a spark of the divine, and how to begin to release the past baggage and the things you were told about yourself so you can experience yourself as a spark of the divine. I gotta say, as God, as the divine spark within you. So that's how we educate people. Then we motivate them by giving them the tools to be able to heal themselves, to heal their family members, to heal their loved ones, even to heal their pets. Just teach people how to do healing work in general, whether it's psychological healing, which we focus on more than anything else, and whether it's emotional healing, whether it's physical healing, we kind of teach them the whole spectrum of doing the healing work. So that's how we motivate people, by giving them the tools. And then we empower them by encouraging them to go out there and use these tools to make a difference, not only in their lives, but in the lives of everyone they come in touch with. So they become a beacon of light for all the darkness that sometimes is hovering over this world that we live in. And that's who Noble Touch is. We are a group of individuals from all types of backgrounds, all walks of life, who realize that we have the heart to serve with the spirit of a warrior, and use that spirit of a warrior to be able to help people overcome whatever obstacles they may have, and the heart to serve. So we teach people, I teach my students that sometimes they have to love people more than they love themselves in order for them to heal.
Let me walk that back a little bit. To love themselves, no, to love other people more than they love themselves. Say a little
Right.
bit more about that.
Because a lot of people, they come in and they don't really want to heal. They come in because there's a part of them that want to heal, but a part of them that doesn't want to heal. So they may come in for healing, but they're not really 100% open for healing, or they don't believe they can heal. And sometimes they feel they're not worthy of healing. And those are people who don't even ask for help. They feel they're not worthy of healing. They'll go to the doctor, and the doctor take all these tests and tell them what's wrong. But once again, 90% of the time is based on something that happened before you were 9 years old that became a big deal over time. So when I say love people beyond their ability to love themselves, like if you came into me and I saw you were hesitating, I got to continue feeding you love so you can release, you can open up, you can soften up your hesitation so that then you'll be more open to receive the blessing that I'm trying to be to you.
Okay. Okay. All right. So now you and I, we've been talking for a couple of weeks about getting back, on the couch in order to chat about something. And of course, there's a whole lot of stuff going on every day, but there's a number of things that are happening in our cities, our town, our country, the world, and part of the journey of life. I recognize, and a number of people may recognize, but maybe it's just not spoken about, that people focus on a lot on one aspect of life and preparing for that aspect of life in a celebratory way. The coming into life, or let's say the transitioning into life, depending on what your theory is about spirit, soul, being on the light on in a physical form, spiritual form, whatever. Okay, so entering into this physical plane, and there's a lot of preparation for that. There's a lot of celebration for that. But then the other side of that transitioning or leaving this earthly plane and moving to the next part of the spiritual level paradigm, a lot of people have hesitation about it. Now, I'm going to go back, and I think I may have shared this to you. So I'm a 70s baby, meaning that I grew up at a time where sci-fi was like half of what I watched, right? I grew up on the Twilight Zone. I grew up on what's another show? I'm trying to think of another sci-fi
The
show.
Jetsons. That
I
wasn't
don't
really sci-fi though.
necessarily, right? I don't necessarily call that sci-fi,
That was not
but
really sci-fi.
we can go with that because that's like sort of like fantasy,
That's futuristic.
futuristic, right? Okay, futuristic. We'll put it in that same category. So one show, one sci-fi movie that my dad, God rest his soul, that my dad and I used to watch. And anybody who remembers this, if you're in my age category or Jeff's age category, drop it in the comments. Is Soylent Green.
Who?
Soylent Green.
I never heard of that before.
Oh my goodness, I thought we talked about this. So Soylent Green, okay.
Soylent Green?
Soylent Green. If anybody recognizes this movie, Soylent Green,
Check the
please.
chat. I was sure they heard of that besides you. I think you made that up. Check
No,
the
it's
chat.
not. Okay. So I'm actually gonna go. I'm sort of gonna like go mute for a minute and then go find the link to the movie and then drop it in the chat. But literally, this is like a classic 70s sci-fi movie. I'm gonna give the essence of the movie. So it's a period of time where like there's devastation on the earth and people are literally trying to survive, right? Not really today, but we can always make the parallel. So because there's such devastation and people are trying to figure out literally how they're going to survive and how they're going. You've never heard of it? Oh my goodness! Come on, people. So listen, wait, wait,
You
wait.
made it up. No one heard of
No,
it but
it's
you.
not.
You made it
Wait,
up.
wait, wait. So look, here's a couple of you folks. So Leslie Alston. Okay, thank you, Leslie. I think I remember that. Leslie, do me a favor. Go, just do a Google search. Go type in Soylent Green and then find the link and then drop another comment. Thank you very much. Wait, so this person, Inner Glow Wellness Biz, never heard of it. That's okay. We're gonna find it. Oh, here we go. Thank you, Leslie. Here we go. You just validated. Charlton Heston. Thank you. I
Okay,
knew.
so you weren't making it up.
I'm not making it up.
Okay.
So, okay, we're gonna give like the abstract. The abstract is that, of course, there's like devastation. People are trying to figure out how they're gonna survive, and then they realize the only thing that's, unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, but like left to feed themselves, they literally have to start thinking of the extreme, and that's how do we make. Let me just say it like this before I get shadow banned. How do we make do with what? I'm not making this up. How do we make do with what we got? Let me leave it at that, because people got to figure that part out. I don't want to say this on the tube, but one aspect of it is that people who, and I have to say, like, had resources, had financial resources, they were able to design their last days, weeks, months in a very pleasant state. So a man, and I don't know the character's name, but a man who's elderly, he finds out something is happening to him, and so he knows that his time is drawing nigh. And so he coordinates with, let's just say, this company, right? Today we have a name for it, but this company, in order to help him prepare for his last days on earth. He goes into this room, he dresses in white, he goes into this really huge open room and he lays on a table. He has already prepared to have his favorite music played. He's already prepared, like, to have his favorite meal, his last meal. And then he lays on this table, and I want to say a 360-degree panoramic view is of this pleasant state of mind. So he chose to have like deer running through the brush and this beautiful sort of like flute music. Now, I have to say, I was less than 10 years old at the time, but I was like, wow, people can sort of plan how they leave. That's interesting. I wonder. And of course, at that time, I didn't know, unfortunately, the difference between reality and like fantasy. So in my head, I always thought, oh, I guess that's how, quote, people who have resources can do that. Because at the same time, we're also dealing with like people, the quote unquote people going to the moon and coming back and what that
Right.
reality was. But of course, people who look like me, we weren't doing that. So in my mind, I was like, wow, I guess some people can do that. Now, I'm watching how people again celebrate the beginning of life, and they put all this money into it, and there's parties and there's showers and there's like, now we have the gender reveal things, that some of these events sometimes cost as much as like planning for a wedding in my mind. But then I look at the other side of life's transitioning, and people are still hesitant to plan for that. I know in my community, my melanated community, and my religious melanated community, there is still this thought of, if I do the planning for it, I'm going to hasten the steps. I'm going to quicken the coming of that time period. I am now of age and of voice to say to people that are closer to me, please consider the people who have to make those preparations once you are no longer here, and the devastation that it is for us to coordinate and do all those things. And so, in a lighthearted ways, when sometimes people say, hey, to make it easier on the person, what would you like, you know, at your homegoing? And some people are like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. Or they're like, well, you know what my favorite outfit is. Or You know what my favorite music is. Okay, but let's get that written down. But past that, and more often is when people sort of recognize that maybe something health wise has happened, how do we start easing people, even if though it may not happen for who knows, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, I don't know, but to start thinking about how does my soul need to be feeling? So, as some uh, people think that your heart is as light as a feather if you go by that paradigm. So I wanted to put that on the table for us because we've had some conversations, but I wanted those conversations to be a little bit more public.
So you said a whole lot. I'm not sure what you want me to respond to.
I did. So, and I'm okay. Somebody's like, I'm making this up. I'm not making this up. I'm gonna go find it. Now I'm gonna let you sort of chat. You can take any part of that, what I said. I'm gonna go find the link to this movie and put it into the chat.
I thought Leslie found it for you.
No, she just found, so she found the name, but oh, someone said might have been before my time. So this is, who is this? BJ Smith. BJ Smith. This literally was like a 70s, a mid 70s, early 70s movie. So, but BJ, I'm gonna go find it right now. So go ahead. So just talk about any part of that. It's fine. I really wanted this to be like, again, we're on the digital couch. We're chit chatting. We're laid back.
Well, let's start with the music. Someone's favorite music. Um, the last thing that goes when someone's leaving their body is the hearing. So them hearing their favorite music would be favorable for them. The music may or may not take them into the light faster, though. The question is, how fast are they going to go into the light? If they're going to go into the light, straight into the light, period. So the one thing that we haven't learned to do, and no one teaches us to do, is to prepare the body, not the body, really, the soul, for its departure. The soul departs from the body from the bottom up. So the energy center is at the bottom, or the bottom of the body starts to close down first and goes up. That's why if you notice the kidneys start to shut down, the organs start to shut down. And that's when the doctors start, worrying about what's going on, or rather how much longer they're going to be around. Also, sometimes they don't eat anymore, they don't drink anymore, they don't hardly speak anymore. So once again, everything is going up until the soul finally extracts itself from its physical form. So the whole key here is to be able to purify the soul or the spiritual anatomy before the person transitions into the higher realm. And the reason why purification is so important is because you want to remove all the earthly baggage, all the hurt they experienced, all the unforgiveness that was not forgiven while they were here, all the sadness, all the fear, the doubt, the worry, the grief, and all those things that they experienced as a soul in a human body. You want to have that soul as clean as possible, as purified as possible before the soul's extracted from the physical body. So the music is good to play something they like because they can still hear it. There's some other things you can do also to prepare the body of your loved one. And I want to say this: the highest gift, the highest honor you can pay anyone that is transitioning is to prepare their body for the transition, to prepare the spiritual body of the soul, what I call the spiritual anatomy, the soul, for its transition. That's the greatest gift you can give anyone. Not only that, but what it does for you is that your grieving process is less. It's not as long. It's not as hard because you did everything you could do to help that person transition. The question is whether or not they're going to transition and they're going to, go through purgatory and everything anyway. Well, if they're not purified, they will anyway. So the question is, do you want them to take the express or the local? If they just leave their body the way it is right now, they will be taking a local train. If you purify the soul, they will take an express train. So for me, when my mother and father transitioned, I made sure they were on the express, not the local. Like I said, they'll get there anyway. The question is where and at what height or what frequency will they be at when they transition. Now, as far as the celebratory part is concerned, I think that we mope around and our selfishness want to keep the person down here with us. We don't want to lose them. Our selfishness, the fact that we're so attached to them. But what that actually does is holds their spiritual body once again, or their soul, I say the soul or the spiritual anatomy, from ascending because they're still connected to us. on this planet Earth. They still have a connection because we're holding on to them. Now, at the Noble Touch, we've actually done experiments where we can see this happen. We can see, like we did an experiment with Prince when he transitioned, and we cut all the connections that everybody's attached to him, and 5 minutes later, all those connections were back again. He was still being held down by the people who have that emotional attachment to them. So I think that when people transition, we need to celebrate the same way we celebrate when they come into this world, because it's just another transition. They came from somewhere and they're going back to where they came from. So they're going home. So we should celebrate. But in order to do that, we have to focus more on the good times we had with the person, not the fact that they were sick or something like that. We have to focus on the good times we have with the person and celebrate those good times and tell, you go to funerals, they always tell those good stories about the person was this, the person. They tell you funny stories, but then they go home and they start moping again. We have to maintain that kind of energy in order for them to continue to transition, in order for you to heal yourself so you don't stay in that grief space. One time I was doing a funeral and I remember I did something really different. I had the people in the audience that knew the person to imagine a blanket, and on that blanket, imagine all the wonderful times you have with that person. All of them. Every single time you have that person, remember all the wonderful times you laughed together, times you got in trouble together, make all those things. Then I had them do this in the funeral homes, put their arms out and just imagine wrapping themselves in that blanket. And everybody, it felt like it was like throughout the whole funeral home, and it got a lot lighter because now what they attach themselves to is the memories of the good times. Another thing people do, it happened to my father, I was not happy with it, is sometimes the person is suffering. And so when they're suffering, they feel bad about the suffering. In my case, they called me back from Connecticut to tell me my father was going to transition any minute, and they wanted me to make a decision about pulling the plug. Well, when I got down there, his wife, not my mother, his other wife, um, she had decided the cord was going to be pulled. So really, I don't know why they told me to come down. Like I was going to make a decision. I had no decision to make. They had already made it. So by the time I got down there, because he was suffering still, they pulled the cord. I mean, no, by the time when I walked in the room, almost the doctor was there. Maybe within a couple of minutes, the cord was pulled. And I am sat in my house like, no, because I know that sometimes when they're going through the suffering, they could be neutralizing some karma that they did not neutralize while they're here on the planet in their physical bodies. And when that happens, then once again, when the soul goes up, when it stretches out the body, that karma link is still there. So I just gave you a lot in a short period of time. I'm not sure that answered your questions or addressed everything you mentioned or not.
So you addressed like a number of things. So you and thank you for I guess pointing out something that I think we recognize because we see it, but and I'll just say for me, because I don't say it, what I see, I don't necessarily know how to put together. Let me give the example. So when you said that this, and if I have to paraphrase, just help me clean it up, that the soul sort of leaves, let's say, from the bottom up, or energy starts to move from the bottom up. And then you said you're talking about how like the kidneys will start to shut down, the person stops eating, and that's maybe one of the first signs that the body is shutting down or transitioning, and that the soul is the last to leave the actual body. And then you were also talking about like hearing. So I know that in our practice, and when I say our practice, I'll say the everyday, I don't know how to explain this. Let's say things that we do. So you hear that someone is transitioning, and I if anybody in my family is going to watch this, then depending on the situation, I have done this. So I had two aunts that transitioned in the same year, not last year, but the year before. And at the moment that my cousin, for the first person, said, my mom is gone, I asked him, I said, do me a favor. I said, it may not make sense, but can you take, if you're okay, go back into the room and put the phone on speaker. And he was like, I said, I know you may not understand it right now, but would you please do that for me? And so he went and he, I guess, stood by the bed or in the room. And my soul just said to, like, to tell her, you know, I love you. Have a safe journey. Um, and I know he was just sort of like, I don't really know what's going on right now, but he honored my request. Now, did I know that her her soul was still there? But I remember saying to him, I said, I know her breathing has stopped, but she's still there. Like, she's still in the room. And if you need to say something, you can still say it and she'll hear you. And I'm sure he was like, Doriel, I don't know, like, have you lost it? But again, he honored my request. Now, did somebody tell me that? Was I raised with that? Or did my spirit just know there's still a part of her there? A couple months later, you know, as life would have it, my other aunt transitioned. Same thing. He was still nearby, and I said, she's still in the room. Her breathing is stopped, but she's still in the room. Say what it is that you need to say to her. And he was like, I said, just trust me on this. Now, that's why I definitely wanted to sort of share this with you and wanted to hear your perspective and your, you know, because is it something that, you know, people who work in the funeral home that they know or that they speak to or they attend to? So this is, I'm going to focus on the word attend. Um, is it people who work in hospice or hospice communities? Are they aware of this? Are they taught this? Or do they just have like this spiritual knowing that they're attuned to this? People who work in gerontology, people who work with elders, seniors, do they know this? People who work in nursing homes, like the communities of people who focus on this part of life and attending to life. Before it was taught in some book, it had to have been known by some elders, some wise people. How is it that we know this? And how can we be better attendants to this process? And I'm focusing on the word attendant because we have doulas, right, who are not, let's say, official medical trained, but there's a spirit that they carry to help usher in new life. I'm hearing that there are doulas, and if the phrase is end of life doula, if I'm
Yeah.
missing, please help me, right? I'm here to learn. But that community is now growing of people who can help to hold the hand of someone or hold the hand of the family so that as the person is making their transition, they have someone to lean on and to help with the process. That's why I wanted to sort of say, to hear more from someone who has more attuned, uh, I guess, foci on that part of life.
So once again, you said about 15 things in one statement.
Well,
so
we're
it's like,
good. We're here.
so it's like,
Oh,
which one do you want me to address?
wait. So thank you. Wait, hold on. Wait. Thank you, Yogisha 3055. Yes, and Death Doulas also. Thank you. Appreciate it. I knew there was a phrase for it.
I don't I don't know that death doulas have this information. I can't say they do. I can't say they don't. If they don't know the spiritual anatomy, they don't have this information. It's one thing to hold someone's hand and be there in death, and that's very, very, very important.
Mhm.
However, the
Oh,
most
chaplains as well.
pardon me,
Chaplains.
chaplains. Well, I'm a
Chaplain,
chaplain. I was a chaplain.
minister.
I'm a chaplain. I didn't learn this. I'm a minister. I didn't learn this. So I
Hmm.
didn't learn this in any of my educational or spiritual or religious educational environments. I didn't learn any of this. I was not taught. As an elder, I've been by many bedsides when people transitioned, going to the hospitals, visiting people, being at their bedside when they're transitioning, or just when they're very sick before they transition. Been by lots of them, but I didn't know this then. So I sat there, I held their hand, Some they took their last breath, and I was there and they took their last breath. But I didn't know this then. So I wasn't as, I couldn't have been as, I'm not as educated about how I can make that transition even more beautiful, even more sacred. Just like life, giving life is a sacred thing. When you leave your physical body, that's sacred also. That's just as sacred as giving as someone coming into the world. It's sacred when they're going out of the world also, and should be treated as such. Now, I think that as far as an intuitive knowing that you talked about with putting the phone to your aunt's ear, I think that the person who's transitioning also has intuition, because there are many stories that you've probably heard, may have experienced yourself, where people have actually waited. They may say, I want to see my uncle, I want to see my aunt, I want to see my daughter. And they don't transition until that person comes. Or they may want to make amends with someone they had a problem with. And they don't transition until that person comes, they make amends or they talk to that person. So intuitively, we know at the soul level, we know that we want to be as purified as possible when we leave this physical body so that we can ascend on the A train. That's what I'm calling the A train, instead of the local, taking the express, to be at the higher frequencies of what they call heaven, which to me is a vibration, not a place. Um, so that's important. What else do you want me to answer? There was so many things you said. As far as you're concerned, having an intuitive knowing, of course, we all have intuition. So some people have it more than others, and some people listen to it more than others. It's one thing to have the intuition; it's a different thing to listen to it and follow it. And most of us, including myself, don't always listen to our intuition, or we wouldn't get in trouble, or we wouldn't hope, we wouldn't make some of the mistakes we make, or some decisions we make based on not following our intuition. And I'm sure that almost everybody on this line have not followed their intuition one time or another, including and especially me. Um, so yes, we do have that intuitive knowledge that something is happening. But the thing you mentioned about waiting, there's a period of time between 3 and 5 hours that you should try to leave the body quiet and by itself. Because the soul doesn't transition out the body that quickly. It takes 3 to 5 hours for it to go out sometimes. That's why the persons can still hear you, because the soul is not fully transitioned out of the physical body yet. And that's why they can still hear you, because that's the last sense to go. So and during that time, you want to keep the body as quiet and as still as possible. So the transition is as smooth as possible. It's like being on an airplane and the plane's going smooth, but then if it hit those air pockets, it goes like this. Well, that's the way the soul energy can go when it's trying to leave the body if there's a lot of disturbances or a lot of lower vibration type things going on, people crying and doing all these things that we normally do. The body's like hitting those air pockets, the soul's like hitting those air pockets on the airplane. If you've been on an airplane before and you hit air pockets, you know what I mean by that. It's not smooth, it's not smooth transition. So that's what happens to the soul when you have all those things going on at the same time. Now, of course, the songs, smooth things out more. And even like something like the Lord's Prayer will just guide them right to the light. It's a lot faster, especially if the soul has been purified by cleansing. I don't know if I answered all your questions because they're so.
I know, I know. If it seems all over the place, again, I'm trying to
Give me one at a time. It'll be easier to answer them one at a time.
Okay, wait a second. So let me pull up some of the comments, and I'm really thankful that your community um, is popping in. So let's see. Mm, okay. So thank you, Yogisha. Yogisha, maybe I guess I know you. I guess we'll connect here. It's important for death doulas and chaplains to get this training from the Noble Touch. Oh, okay. So Noble Touch, shout out to you. So if you have I don't know what you call it, but a transitioning training, please let us know. Definitely. Um, it adds a layer of expertise and energy healing that makes an immeasurable difference. Thank you. Thank you. And oh, this was on, I guess, the communication. So yes, and they telepathically communicate with us. Okay, interesting. And then this, I believe this had to do with when waiting for family to come. So, which is why people died near loved ones' birthdays, anniversaries, or special dates. They hold on many times just for us. What a beautiful act of kindness service from them on their deathbed. Interesting. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Um, so now I'll try one at a time. How about that for the next couple minutes? One at
If you want me to be clear,
a
I,
time.
if you want me to be clearer, so I'll make sure that I'm answering. I want to make sure I'm answering all your questions because this is a very important topic to me.
It
It's a
is.
very
It is.
important topic to me because I know how it helped me and the people that I love as far as their transitions are concerned, and being able just to tell. And there are ways that you can actually we actually train people to be able to tell by using their hands. Their hands become their antennas to feel the differences. I mean, I can have someone feel the difference between the way the body feels of a loved one that just passed now and have them cleanse the body and they feel the difference. So we learn to use our hands as antennas to be able to pick up the spiritual energy of people who are living and who are in transition and who have already passed. That's why our healing, when we do healing work, we pick up illnesses and diseases. We don't know what they are. We just know there's an imbalance. So I
Hmm.
may feel someone's Dr. Kakai one time was doctor some people know in Brooklyn. I worked with him we worked together. We still work together. Actually, we worked together in the same office for about 7 years, 8 years.
Mm.
And I remember he had a family member come by one time. And so Dr. Kakai said, Jeff, can you scan his body? Now, we say scan, we don't mean look. We mean take our hands and go over the body. And I said, something's going on with his heart. And they asked me, how did I know? I said, because I can feel the difference in the energy in that particular area.
Hmm.
There's another client of his who I measured and I recognized that one kidney was bigger than the other, which was true. But when you scan your hand, so you have the ability to actually feel what's going on in the energy body or the spiritual anatomy. Doctors focus on the physical anatomy. At the Noble Touch, we focus more on the spiritual anatomy, which is more of the people heard of chakras before and the auras before. All those things affect the physical body. If there's any illness at all that you have, I have, anyone else have, it started out in the emotional body and the mental body before it hit the physical body. Because most of it, like I said, is emotions. I always say emotions buried alive never die.
Wait, say that again. Emotions, what?
Buried alive never die.
Buried alive?
Yeah. Meaning you haven't repressed them, that they've been repressed.
Oh, oh.
Repressed emotions like stress. People say, I'm not stressed. I'm not stressed. I'm not stressed. I'm too blessed to be stressed. And I can just scan certain energy centers of theirs and I can feel the stress energy. What happens is that we become so used to being stressed that becomes our new normal.
Yeah.
It becomes our new normal. And so we accept that's just the way it is. But that's not just the way it is.
Right. It doesn't have to be like that.
It doesn't have to be that way. No.
Doesn't have to be like that. Mm, okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Emotions buried alive, never die. I appreciate it. So now, just so everybody can see that. Thank you, Yogisha, for being the my stream team. My what do I call it? Like, yeah, my stream team, meaning the people who like take notes, because that's very important. That's very important. Um, okay. So how can we prepare, let's say prepare ourselves to support others who may be on the beginning of that journey? I'll give an example. Unfortunately, there will be people who will say, who'll go to the doctor and the doctor says, oh, we found X. You may have 3 months, 6 months. How could we, as their support team, their loved one, their family, their friend, um, start to walk beside them?
Well, that depends a lot on you and what you believe. See, I believe that the doctor doesn't have the final say. I,
Mm,
I believe in miracles and I believe things can change. And I believe doctors can make mistakes like everybody else. I've seen Leslie Austin, who's on the phone now, and they gave her mother, I think, 2 or 3 years to die. And the doctor who said she was going to die in 2 or 3 years died before she did. She lived another 7 years. Um, so I don't necessarily believe that. I think that we have to live as if we're going to be here, not as if we're going to die. A lot of
mm,
person when they get that type of diagnosis, they start to give up. They start to give up and they walk around like they're going to die. They talk like they're going to die. They mope around and want all this type of attention like they're going to die. instead of them living like they're going to live, because the doctor is not the final say. I really don't believe the doctor's the final say. So I think that we have to help them by trying to keep them normal, try to make them act the way they were acting before they got the diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it is true, they're going to go anyway. So why would you want to change the quality of your life and make it worse because you got that diagnosis? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
People make it worse when they get that diagnosis instead of making it better. Like, okay, well, if it's true I got 3 months to live, I'm gonna have a ball. And the thing to do
Right,
is
right,
support them in having that ball, as opposed to going with them into this sad, this depressed state of despair and everything else. So I would, if it was somebody that one of my loved ones, I would be supporting them having fun. Let's just have fun. And we don't know whether the doctor's right or wrong. There's many examples of people living way beyond what the doctor predicted. So let's
mm-hmm.
go out there and have fun and see what happens. If you get to a point where you can't do the things you used to do the way you used to do them, then we'll worry about it. But I'm going to live my life as if I still got more 20, 30, 40 years left and see what happens. So I don't fall into the depression and oh, it's me, I'm going to be dying. I don't fall into that with the person. I
Right.
continue to be upbeat and to expect them to live. And that's what I mean by sometimes you got to love people more than their ability to love themselves. You have to love
Okay.
them. You have to love them through that fear, doubt, and worry that they have. So maybe, just maybe, the fact that you're always upbeat, because everything is energy. Everything is energy. So if I come to you, I'm around you all the time, always upbeat. Although you're trying to feel down, it'll be impossible for you to feel as down as you would normally feel, because my energy is vibrating at a higher frequency than yours. So you may not feel 100% like I do, but you're going to be raised up from that depressed moment or that depressed energy that you were soaking your body in because of my presence, because of the way I speak, because of the way I am. It's like when you get on the phone with someone who was very depressed and you felt really good, but they were depressed, and then you go off the phone and they feel happy, you feel
Ooh,
depressed. It's the same type of thing almost. Not the exact same thing, but same type of exchange of energy. So I'll keep my energy up on purpose so I can help bring yours up. So it's a conscious thing. So
I
I would walk with them in faith. I would keep the faith until I
I
see that
agree.
nothing else that can be done. And then I will work on them to make sure that they release as much emotional baggage as they have. As much emotional baggage as they have. I would look at changing their beliefs about what's possible. So someone give you a diagnosis that you're gonna be gone in 3 months. The
Mm.
first question is, do you accept it or not? Because
Mm-hmm.
that's the key right there. If you accept it, that means you created a belief now that you're gonna be gone in 3 months. There are ways to help people change that belief or alter that belief or open the door to believe something different. So we will have to look at that also and help them change their necessary belief. Or once again, that utterance that the doctor gave them is a gift. Suppose you gave that gift back to the doctor and say, that's some of the other patients, not me. If
And
they
so,
say, yeah, go ahead.
right. And so, in my, I guess, my religious practice, the phrase that would be given is, "Oh, I like what is it? Oh, I know a doctor that's never lost a patient," or Jesus is my doctor, right? He writes out all of my prescriptions, and so there are some phrases that would be the retort to whatever that
But
medical art.
it's easy for those retorts. They're almost automatic. They're not even, they're almost default. The question is whether you believe that. That's the question. You can say that all you want. And I mean, I'm in the Christian community also, and I hear people say all that stuff. But the question is whether they really believe it. Because if you really believe that, you're not going to get depressed. You're going to start feeling bad if you really believe that. So it's easy to say that stuff. It's a whole different ball game to operate from that belief. If you truly believe it, not if it's the right thing to say because you were taught that in church or anything else. Do you really believe that? Because that's the key. Most
Mm,
people believe what the doctor say. They may say Jesus is my doctor or Jesus is my healer.
right.
And when people say that to me, as a matter of fact, I like to mess with people sometimes.
I know you do. That's why we're talking.
So if someone said to me, Jesus is my healer, I say, why'd you go to the doctor? Why don't you just call Jesus if that's your healer? Then people get mad at me for saying that. But they say, well, the Jesus uses the doctor and Jesus uses the medicine and Jesus uses this and Jesus uses that. I say, then what makes you think Jesus can't use a healer from the noble touch?
Okay, there we go. Wait, let's, so your community is really in the, as I'm gonna now consider the Mbongi. Shout out to Professor
The
Carr.
what?
The Mbongi, the
Okay.
chat. So okay, so our beliefs matter, and also the person with the prognosis. It's what they internalize. Yes. Okay, so this is on the homegoing. Y'all know I want to have fun and come turn up at my homegoing. Oh my goodness. Yes. To someone else. Oh, so everything is energy. Yes, thank you.
She's not the only one in this chat, is she?
No. Hold on. Wait there. We got some other people, but she's doing a lot here. Sorry, is it she? Yogisha, is it she? I'm presuming. Okay. Leslie Austin. Thank you, Leslie. Energy exchange is real. Let's see. Okay, let me get another person. Nita 8333. High vibrations. Beautiful. And then Sister Leslie again. Emotional baggage is heavy. Yes. So I'm thankful for these comments, because they are reminding me of, again, things that we observe during this part of the life transition process. And I wanted the opportunity to not just give voice to it, but to put it out in the open, so that I know I can, I guess, get better words for the things that I'm thinking or feeling. I know that I was talking to a colleague of mine the other day, and she said something about, like, I don't know why I didn't understand X, Y, Z, whatever the thing was. And I said, because it's 2025, and now you have more experience to understand the thing that somebody told you 30 years ago, but now you have more experience to understand. I said, just like John 3:16, we learned when we were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But now we know John 3:16. It's the same verse, but now we have more experience in our life to add to a deeper understanding of that simple thing. So as I look at the process of life moving on to its next stage, and the practices that we all participate in, whether it is, doesn't even matter what the religious paradigm is, if it's Judaism, if it's Islam, if it's Christianity, I can't name many others right now, please forgive me. But when we say the nice things about the person, or if the person is, let's say, in those last hours or what have you, and the doctor says, or someone in the family says, you must come now. The deeper issue is, let's make amends. Let's clear the air. Let's make sure that there's no unresolved issues as you are leaving that person's leaving you. Because then we have moments of people, of situations where someone does leave this physical life, and then the people who are still back here, like, oh my goodness, I should have, right? I should have told them I love them. I shouldn't have harbored bad feelings. Do we know that as that person has left this life and they're into whatever that next journey is, do we know that, let's say, their heart is still heavy, or like someone said earlier, that they'll wait for the person to come, and if that person doesn't come, or the person leaves on like a special day, or by a holy day, or a celebration, or a birthday, or what have you, and they'll wait until they can sort of make that next passage of time. So it's very interesting how we see these things, how we sort of participate on the periphery, but not until we have a conversation like this do we start pulling things together. The doctor says, hey, come now. The family's like, is our house in order? Our physical house in order? The financial house in order? Do we have all the papers set up? Do we know the favorite this or the other? And I'm sure there are books written about this. If anybody knows books written about this process, drop in the comments, because I always want to share resources with people. But I definitely wanted to have this conversation with you because I know that you do this energy work, and there just has to be more conversations about this, so that we share more as a community with those people who we are around, We pull other people into the conversation. And if there are folks in this chat who participate as these guides or doulas, that you let other people know how to support families, how to support friends, so that the grieving process is still grieving, but there's a little bit more peace in the process and more celebration.
There's a lot more peace if you clean that spiritual anatomy first. If you know, if you have a problem with a person and it's not healed,
Mm.
if you believe in coming back again, you come back, the problem is going to still be there. The problem is going to still be there. If you and I don't get along in this lifetime, and I run into you in another lifetime, if you believe in another lifetimes, then that problem is still there, especially if it's not purged. And it should be purged on both ends, because as long as you still hold on to energy, it can be reconnected to me.
So we have a question, and I think this will probably like take us to, as we close out this conversation, take a look at this. Thank you for Sister Leslie. What is your take on judgment after death? Literally, I think you just sort of touched on it. Like, if you sort of don't clean up, if you don't clean up energy, and if you believe in reincarnation or other people coming back, but say more if you feel that you haven't addressed that
Well,
yet.
I think that judgment is that time period within the 3 to 5 hours I was talking about, that you see your whole life flash in front of you. You've heard people in books and other places talking about they went into the light and they saw their whole life flash in front of them. On that 3 to 5 hours after death is when you look at those moments in your life, good, bad, different, ugly, good, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And you kind of judge yourself. You're kind of like the judge of, whether it was good, bad, or ugly. And then from there, you can decide whether or not, well, it really depends, because if your aura has been cleansed and your chakras has been cleansed, because when you're judging, it may be visual, or it may be, something that you feel. But if this physical anatomy, the spiritual anatomy is really cleansed, I think the judgment is a lot shorter, because you've cleansed up all the energy that's attached to that judgment. So if you're judging something you did as being wrong per se, right? But you cleanse the spiritual anatomy first, you've cleansed that energy. You've cleansed the energy. So I'm not sure that, you may judge as right or wrong, but when you cleanse the spiritual anatomy, once again, before someone transitions, then you've cleansed that energy. So the judgment is not as hard on you. You're not as hard on yourself, because you already cleansed that energy. It's almost like not having forgiveness. One of the most important things a person can do before they transition is forgive themselves and forgive everyone else that's been in their life. They need to forgive. That's a very important part of the transition period, just being able to forgive. So I think that's very, very important also. There are a few things I would like to leave your audience with.
Please.
Some things that you can do yourself also. Like, you want their head facing east. They want the top of their head be facing the east wall, because the body, everybody, people, the east is important in religious circles, facing east and everything else, praying to the east. So you want the head to be facing east. So when the soul extracts, it's going east.
So, well, 1 second. So whoever's going to take notes for us, please type it in the chat, type it in the Mbongi, so that it can live as a live archive. All right. So number 1, head must face to the east. Okay. So
Yes.
you're saying the top of the head. Okay.
Yeah.
So wait. You know what I'm going to do now? Now I'm actually going to pay attention to the next time that I attend a funeral. I'm going to use my phone and use the compass in my phone and see if the person's head is facing east.
No, you want to do that in the hospital.
But but I'm asking, wait. Listen to why I'm asking this question, or why I'm saying this. Because let's say in my church, the head in my church is always on the left side. I'm going to actually go into my sanctuary and use my compass and say, is that wall the east wall? Whether or not it is, I'm actually going to ask the funeral director, is the funeral director aware, or when they position the body, do they follow that practice? Now, that's because I'm already there. But if I'm part of the, prior to the person takes their last breath, and I have a say in moving the body. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I need to know both. Because now I'm aware, I'm more aware. Okay, head facing east. Got it.
Right.
That's number one.
Also, in the hospital, it would be nice and help the transition if they have like orange flowers or orange candles or something like that. Of
Hmm.
course, the beings of I'm not gonna go into this in detail, but the beings that come to take to help extract the soul are orange. Those beings, those energies are orange also. So orange candles, orange flowers, something that also makes the transition easier.
Wait a minute. Can you burn? This is not a silly question. Can you burn a candle in a hospital?
Probably not.
Okay. But
Probably
would
not.
they bring orange flowers?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think you can. I never burned a orange
So I don't think
candle
they
in the
allow
hospital.
candles to be burned in the hospital, but okay.
No, I doubt you can. Too much oxygen, everything else is around.
Yes.
But a lot of people now are opting to die at home.
Okay.
That's why I added that.
I'm gonna type this in the chat. So I'm gonna go on mute. I can hear you, but I'm gonna type in
Okay.
the chat. I don't see my stream team type in the chat. Okay, go
Also,
ahead.
like I said, facing east, 3 to 5 hours after the death, after the physical death, they can still hear you. You can still talk to them, uh, but don't do anything too drastic. Try. As a matter of fact, try to keep them the same. If they die in their bedroom, don't move them for 3 to 5 hours. If they're in the hospital, ask the hospital, can you have some time? I have, relatives coming in from out of town or wherever it is, so you can leave them stable. So that once again, they're not going over the air bumps with all the other stuff going on. The soul trying to leave the body and it's shaking inside, just trying to leave. So their favorite music, of course, you can play. Om helps take them to the light. The Lord's Prayer helps take them to the light. Bible verses are good, but let it be more of a celebratory thing. Not everybody crying around the bedside. That ties them into the earthly experience. That makes sense? Because the physical, the mental body, and the astral body, which is the emotional body, are going to be extracted from the physical body. So you want to do everything you can to make sure that transition out of the physical body is as smooth and as clean as possible. And once again, the greatest gift you can give anyone transitioning is to purify their soul before they transition. As a matter of fact, it's funny because we talked earlier tonight about this, doing this today, and I got a call from my ex-wife that my sister-in-law, my ex-sister-in-law, is transitioning, and they're getting ready to leave to drive to Philadelphia to work with her. So what I'm going to do, knowing that she's transitioning, and I've already, scanned the body to see where the energy is now. I'm going to do the transition protocol for her. So I know that when she leaves her body, that her soul is purified. Like I said, that's the greatest gift you can give someone. It really is.
So now what's popping through my head are I love watching documentaries. I love
Me
watching
too.
documentaries. And I'm fascinated by rituals of life of other communities. I'm fascinated. So the first one that I know, and because of where I physically live, I live by a very strict Jewish community, and so I am aware of practices. 24 hours, the body has to be sent, to the next place. Has to be funeralized. I don't know what the other word is, or like the sitting shiva, or that process. People in New Orleans, how they this only a documentary I've seen, how they handle if the person passes away at home. In some communities, right, the person is still laid in the bed let's say if it's a husband, the wife, and y'all can look this up because I just saw a couple of shows about this. The wife is supposed to like sit on the bed of the person for a while, like a while. I watched a documentary of a community in Madagascar, right? That tiny little island off the southeast coast of Africa. That some of the practices are they'll put the person into, let's say, their favorite outfit, and they put the body into, they wrap the body up and they put them into this box, and then they carry it to the site. But then on I don't know if it's a year after or a few years, but on the day that the person has transitioned, they actually bring the body back out and they change the clothes. When I saw that, I could not believe what I was watching. I was like, wow. Like, again, it's thinking about the soul of the person. Or even, we just passed October 31st, right? The Eve of Hallows, right? But it's really All Saints Day, November 1st and November 2nd. And I'm thinking that is so fascinating to have a day. And I just learned this year. November 1st is supposed to be the day that the souls of children are like allowed to return to the family. So the family prepares almost like a party. They bring
Mhm.
out the child's favorite food and they set a place for it. They bring out the child's favorite toys if it was a child who transitioned, in whatever the situation was. And like the family has a gathering for the souls of the children. I was like, that's incredible. And then the next day is for, parents, grandparents, great grandparents, and they'll put the pictures up, they light candles, favorite. And I'm just thinking, this is incredible. So I'm
Mhm.
just fascinated about how people in my own community and the rituals and the rites that we still kind of hold on to, depending on, let's say, your religious or spiritual beliefs, and that those that people will allow to celebrate loved ones. So again, I'm fascinated by it, and I wonder how we can make this conversation more palatable so that people are not afraid to make space for the souls of people that they love that are no longer physically here. That's why I wanted to have this conversation. So I probably have done a lot of talking. I'm actually going to pop up a couple of things that people have said as as we wrap this up. So thank you again, Yogisha, breathing with you and her family. Thank you, thank you. And then this is another: refrain from loud screaming and crying at that time. 3 to 5 hours, beautiful. And again, like even that 3 to 5 hours. First of all, if the person is transitioning in your home, it's going to take a while for the morgue, right, to come,
Or the funeral director.
or whoever gets there first,
Right.
in order to get there. So that isn't like it's not specific time, like, hey, I need to wait, but it's just a reality of how soon you're going to make that call for your loved one to be removed from the space.
Right.
Uh, and in that time, yeah, like, what do people do? What can they do? What can they acknowledge that can be done? Like, if it's in the hospital, what does the hospital usually do? They take the white sheet, they cover the person, they let the room be still. They'll maybe turn lights low. If the family is there, they allow the family to go in and to be with the loved one. They give them private time. They may send a chaplain in to sort of hold space for the person.
Right.
I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated about it because, again, we do all of this work and we do all of this acknowledged celebration for life coming in. But when life transitions to the next part, it's almost like, let's not talk about it.
No, you should be celebrating. You can tell the person, it's remind the person that's transitioning about some fun times y'all had together, just all that uppity, high vibrational uh, information or energy you want to feed them, even as they're transitioning.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I thank you. I thank you for this. Do you have a session or a training or an official series of workshops that other people
Oh,
can
we got
join?
so much stuff going on all the time.
Tell us what you got going on coming soon.
On the first 3 Mondays of every month, we have a night of healing where they call in, they're right there with their issues they want to be worked on in the chat. And we have a number of healers that's on the line that will work on them to release the pain, release the stress, whatever it may be they're working on, so they feel better. And once again, that's online the first 3 Mondays of every month. Now, on the first and third,
Second,
when
can someone from your team, I don't know if Yogisha or Sister Leslie, if you can drop, is it available? Can that be dropped in this chat as well?
I'm sure they will.
Thank you, please. Please and thank you. Okay. Yes, go ahead.
And on Wednesdays, the first and third Wednesdays, we do the same thing in person. So the people come into our center at 1110 Fulton Street, and we have them sit one on one with a healer. So you sit one on. This is not remote now; they're in person. Work with
Mm.
the healer one on one on first and third Wednesdays. On Wednesdays afternoons from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, we have a program for seniors. So every Wednesday, once again virtual, seniors call in. They and the formats are all the same: exercise, healing meditation, maybe a little discussion, and that's it. Except for the seniors, they actually play music at the end. They rock out, have a lot of fun.
I love it.
The first Saturday of every month we have is called the I Am Fellowship, and that's more about helping people to recognize who they are and whose they are and what they have inside them that may not seem to be the truth to them because they're not experienced it, but they are the I am. They're not their bodies, they're not their emotions, they're not their thoughts, they're not even their mind. They are the I am. They are a spiritual being of divine intelligence, divine love, and divine power. And they are connecting one with their higher soul. So we kind of have them begin to do meditations around that. And then we have a speaker come in that speaks about a topic. Last topic was um, your future you is calling you. And he speaks about that. And then we begin to do exercises around that. And then we basically end that session also. And then on the first Sunday of every month is the success is your birthright. And that's when I'll come on and I'll do a session on, it could be anything from, I don't know, there's so many topics, healing your wounds, your, I forgot the topic's name, but it's designing your future, rewriting your narrative, belief buster boot camp, just a bunch of different topics from relationship stuff to personal development stuff. But my area of expertise, there's a lot of stuff I don't know. I am ignorant with a lot of stuff. I'll be the first to admit that. But the one thing I do and I do well is personal development stuff and healing. Those and teaching. Those are my three gifts. That's what I reveal to the world. That's what my healers go out there and reveal to the world. And as you know, we do work all over the world now. And we will continue to grow because it's not my ministry. I'm just a servant.
I love it. I love it. My dear brother, it is such a blessing to chat with you in public again. We have these other side conversations, and I said we have to have one of these conversations back on the digital couch so that we can share with other people and grow from what we talk
I
about.
can't believe it's been 2 years. That was that long ago? Wow.
So then we need to have you back in, another 6 months. So, it's not going to be 2 years.
Okay. I didn't realize it's been 2 years. I really didn't. It's been a long time, 2 years.
I looked at the last communication that we had. It was the last banner that we made. It was 2 years ago. So it
Wow.
won't it won't be 2 years now.
Well, I hope not. And you know now that one of our biggest supporters is Susan Taylor, right? From Essence
Yes,
Magazine. Yeah.
yes, 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 yes.
So
Excited.
we're happy to have her, continue to help promote us and talk to her friends about us because it helps a lot. She believes in the work and she believes that, and we want to thank you for inviting us on because once again, what I keep hearing over and over again on a consistent basis that more people need to know about your work, Jeff. There are not enough people that know about your work. I hear that
That's what I said.
over and over again. So we're doing something about it this year. We'll do
Good.
something about it
So
this year.
listen, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the link. I'm waiting for the link. Somebody needs to put it in the
You might
chat.
put a link in yet?
The Zoom link. While somebody gets that, I am gonna put up. Listen, Yogesh, I'm gonna have. If I don't know you already, I need to connect with you. We need to find one another. So thank you for sharing. So you said yes, that's how it was with my grandma in her house. The pastor came over, and about 15 of us came over, surrounded her. We cried, sang, prayed, and waited for the coroner. It was beautiful. Amen. Amen. Okay. Yeah. So wait a minute. What's the chat? Because I don't see it. I'm just seeing it in YouTube. Maybe it's on Facebook. Maybe it's on Facebook. I'll look for it, but it's not on Facebook. Every Wednesday, 1 p.m. The seniors, first, second, and third online, 7 p.m. Every first and third Wednesday in person, 1110 Fulton. First Saturday is I Am Fellowship 10 a.m. Excellent.
The
Okay,
phone numbers are, don't we have the phone numbers to that also, team? Don't we have phone numbers that you can give them now for if they want to sign up for the I Am Fellowship or they want to sign up for the seniors? It's the same phone number every week.
Okay, let's see. Okay, right. And thank you for putting that. First Sunday, success is your birthright. Time flies. Share the pleasant spirit. Oh my goodness. Who is this? We gotta find. Thank you for recognizing my smile. I try, but I gotta find out who you are. That's fabulous. Leslie Austin, thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for showing up.
I
Okay, who
think
is
you probably know your Nisha also.
okay? I'm gonna have to come through. Greetings, brother Sean. Yes. Oh, does brother Jeffrey have an opinion on cremation versus burial? Oh, do you want to do that? Do you want to talk about
Well, I do I have a preference? I really think that my preference don't matter. I think that
that?
it's the
I
family's
think it's
preference.
just the opinion. I don't think he's asking about the
Oh,
preference. It's just, do you have an opinion on cremation versus burial? Ooh.
well, I used, believe this or not, I used to work in a burial work for a burial company selling burial plots
Oh, wow.
and the mausoleums. So uh, um, a cremation, what's happening in cremation, you basically bury the body. Um, some people think that's better. I don't really have much of an opinion on it. I kind of lean more towards cremation because when you bury someone normally, I don't care how strong that casket is, sooner or later, earth gets to it. If they're in a mausoleum when they're above ground, it's different. They don't get the ants and the bugs, that can get into the casket sooner or later, or just the fact that when it gets damp and it stays damp for a while, it allows for more opportunities for things that are part of the natural underground per se to contaminate the coffin unless it's inside of a vault, what they call a vault. And most people don't put them inside of a vault; they put them right into the ground. Cremation, I'm not cremation. If they're above ground, then the body literally turns to dust. After a while, the physical body will turn to dust. You see, like the teeth are still. You can open the casket 6, 7 months later, the teeth may still be intact because everything's turning back to dust once again. So I kind of like, yes, it turned. I worked there. I've seen it. It turned the
Oh,
body.
I believe it, but so okay. Wait, so the other fascination I have, which is mummification, it,
Mm-hmm.
that the Egyptians did, right? I'm fascinated, but that's because I had an early exposure to seeing King Tutankhamun's, tomb come in 77,
Right.
at the Museum of Natural History. Like, I was fascinated by that. So, but I mean, that was like thousands of years. And again, the skull is still in shape as well as the teeth, but he was, oh, I guess you can say he was above ground, but he was in a tomb.
Yeah, but was he in the dirt or was she in a cement tomb or was it above ground or underneath ground? I don't remember
Oh,
whether it's above. I think it was above ground, but I don't remember for sure.
there we go. Okay. All right. So hold on, Leslie, if you're connected to me through either Facebook or Instagram, if you send me that link within the next couple minutes, I can actually drop it, get it from Messenger, and then drop it in. If not, I can always drop it in after the stream is over. But we've sort of chatted long enough. I'll add it in. But or brother Jeff, if you can get that link, send it to me as a text, and then I'll drop it in.
Yeah, I can get Leslie or someone to do it. I don't know that. I don't know Link myself. I don't know any of
That's,
that stuff. Everybody know not to ask. Don't ask Jeff. He don't know.
oh
That's the
gosh,
rumor.
that's why you have a team. That's why you have a
Exactly. Exactly. I have the best team
TNT.
in the world.
I love it.
I
I
have a
love it.
great team. God gave them to me for me to love on them also.
Okay. I am so I'm gonna pause this for now, but of course you're definitely welcome to come back in less than a year.
Two
We're going to
years.
try 6 months. And I will say, Brother Sean, I am so excited that you're on. This is only he will understand why I'm saying this. Family. It's just our thing. We were in Kemet last year, which is when we had the opportunity to go back to like the Sphinx and the tombs and Saqqara, and like, oh, it was amazing. And that was just like our call for the group. So and we'll be chatting with some other people in the next couple of days. on, information that we need during this time, during this very tumultuous time that's occurring in our city, state, and country. So I want to say peace and blessings to everyone who is here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brother Jeff, for bringing your team, your crew, your community, your TNT, your noble healers. I'm so blessed to have this additional conversation in to add to this space. And you, in my mind, are definitely a minister on a mission. You are a minister on a mission. So peace and blessings, everyone. Okay, we do have the noble. Hold on, let me just. Now I think I see it. Okay, let me just put this up here. And then it was in Messenger. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right, let me grab this. So how about this? I'm going to put myself on mute. Brother Jeff, if you want to give
Yep.
any other closing. Yes, sir.
Well, what I like to tell people all the time is that we have to remember that we are all unique individuals, that there was no one before us that were like we are, that have our gifts, our talents, our blessings. There won't be another one after us, which means that we are God's masterpiece. I mean, you can go to the museums and buy this artwork for $1 million, $4 million, $8 million, whatever it may be, but we are really God's masterpiece because we're made in His image, His likeness. So I always tell people to step from behind the curtains of fear, doubt, and worry, and let God show you off. Because you're made in His image, His likeness, let God show you off. You were born an original, so don't die a copy. You were born an original, so don't die a copy. So go out there and don't have a good day. Make it a great day. That means that you're in control. And I know what's going on in the world right now, but don't let that get inside your head. Otherwise, it will slow you down from your progress because you'll be focusing on the wrong things by focusing on what's going on in the world, what people are saying, and all the kind of nutty stuff that's going on and the strikes that's going on. You can't focus on that. You keep your eye on the prize, and that prize is to discover what God gave you and to share it with the entire world. That's why I like to tell people. You are a blessing. You are the answer to someone's prayer. I guarantee you. So prepare yourself to be able to answer that prayer and help that person. That's all I got to say.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. Oh, I love it. Make it a great day and let God show you off. Can I just say that these are slogans that need to be on some sort of merch. Hello, the Noble Touch. Get y'all some shirts. Get y'all some bags and cups and mugs.
Oh, we're
Okay,
gonna be doing
these are
some of that next
beautiful.
year. One of my favorite ones though is "So What Now What." That's one of my favorites. So what now what? So what
Okay.
that so what that happened to you now? What you gonna do about it?
Oh, thank you. I get it. Now I get it. Now I get it. All
People
right. Peace and
people focus too
blessings.
much on what happened to them. People focus spend too much time on what's
Right.
happening to them and not how to get out of it. So
Right. And then they stay stuck.
yep. All right.
Then they stay stuck and then they don't move.
Bless you, my
So
sister.
that's a problem. All right. Peace and blessings. Peace and
Oh,
blessings. Hold tight, Brother Jess, just for a second. Okay.
okay. All right.
All right. Peace and blessings, everyone. Again, I am so thankful and blessed and honored that I was able to have Brother Jeff and the Noble Touch community come through and show off and say what they know and say how they help and support life, not just life coming into this physical plane, but life as it goes from this physical plane to the next plane that we know or that we're aware of. So again, blessed and honored to have Brother Jeff, and we'll be seeing him much sooner than another 2 years. All right. Peace and blessings, everyone. Have a good evening.